Some more 1v1 time. This time, High Elves versus the Lizardmen. If you haven't guessed it already, I'm absolutely playing the High Elves. We're playing against Jordan from our very own CA. You've probably seen him on some of their live streams. Him and Whelan were just doing one not too long ago with Rise of the Republic. He's on their production team, and we got to work pretty closely during the Everchosen Invitational. So love working with Jordan. He's a great guy. Everyone on that production team is a lot of damn fun. So let's take a look at what we're dealing with already. Oh man, Lizard Reaver's just getting cooked by that Dino Lizard over there. The Bastillodon Solar Engine just ripping through the tides. But my army is pretty interesting this time. So we went with 2 Spearman units right here and here, then another 2 on the flanks and flanks, and then 4 units of White Lions of Trace. Now, the reason we did this here is because the White Lions of Trace, they do have some really great characteristics when it comes to fighting Lizardmen. This is the only real matchup I think that they're overly worth it. I think, what, they're 800, 900 gold, and you have AP damage coming out of them. They also do magic, but that's not too awesome here. So that AP damage is going to be very significant against a lot of the Lizardmen line. You're going to help crack that open. I mean, their armor is still 90, so they still have a significant amount of armor on them. So them being what they are, they're pretty worthwhile in this matchup because you can get so much value out of them. Now, another niche pick I chose, not necessarily a niche pick, but one that's uncharacteristic of me, is Lothern Sea Guard. As you guys know, these are some of my favorite units in the game. They are just amazing. They're hybrid units, so they can both shoot and defend with their spears. And the reason I chose this is in case we have any dinosaurs that rip through the front line into our back line, I can have the Lothern Sea Guard kind of double as a backline defender while at the same time firing missiles into it. With the spears on the flank here, we do have backline defenders, but still this allows me to really insulate myself. And with 2 units of Sisters of Avalorn, we can take apart any large dinosaurs that kind of come our way. Now, leadership-wise, we went with the lovely, again, Alarielle the Radiant. She's a really, really good competitive pick, especially alongside her Noble. Especially the reason we chose the Noble is he is anti-large and he is AP. That's going to be huge here. We want that. We want both those things in high working order when it comes to fighting against Lizardmen. Now, Jordan went with a quick little move on our side here. He took 3 units of Chameleon Skinks. Now, these Chameleon Skinks are just absolute terrors in the night. Take a look at Chameleon Skinks. They do have both poison melee attacks and ranged attacks, and they have a whopping speed of 48. So once they poison something, they can actually outrun majority of things that would try to chase them down. And on top of it, if you have 3 of them like this, they can just absolutely tear things apart by just splitting all 3 directions and shooting across them. Now, my Illyrian Reavers are already kind of probing the battlefield, looking for some skirmishers, and we've definitely found some Chameleon Skinks over there. So we're going to have to change our backline to deal with that. As far as the rest of Jordan's army, he's got a lot of Saurus Warriors with shields, which is a really great pick here because you do want to be able to mitigate. Photon Torpedo, ripping up some Reaver Archers. You want to mitigate as much of the High Elf range damage that's coming your way. He did choose also some Temple Guard. Great choice here. They are AP. They are anti-large. So if you have a, let's just say, a High Elf on a Dragon Prince, or I guess a High Elf Dragon Prince, but a High Elf on a Dragon, these guys will mitigate a lot of that damage, being able to really take them down fast. Now, of course, the king of taking down large creatures himself, look at him. Kroq-Gar on his mighty Grimlock. Oh, it's like I made him do that. He's so strong, 560 melee strength. He does have that AP and anti-large as well, so he can really rip some stuff up. And in the background, you do see a Bastillodon Solar Engine and a Skink Priest of Heavens. So let's see what we have in order for us. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get that charge because nothing's better than watching a dinosaur charge through things with its as las guns pierce into it too. Boof. So epic. I just love the way that these dinosaurs just charge through things and run all the way through the line on it too. Solar Engine also ripping down field here, bursting into stuff. Another charge. We'll witness this one as well. Just the way these things kind of just lopping, like jumping charge. Like, I love it. Look at that. Headlong in, going right to the ground. Well, I guess maybe not the most epic thing in the world, but still. Huge axes coming up, trying to reap the foe here. Bring us back into normal speed. All right, so we have our Noble jumping onto Kroq-Gar here, and this is a really good chance here to take out what is one of the strongest things. Ooh, look at that. wind attack, or I'm sorry, breath attack coming out from Heavens, ripping up some Sisters of Avalorn. Sisters of Avalorn facing the charge of the mighty Kroq-Gar with the Noble on them, so they do still have a chance to win this. We do have quite a bit of health, or I'm sorry, quite a bit of AP range damage coming into, as well as the AP anti-large coming out of our big-ass Noble. Now, Spearman from the flanks jumping in here. Looks like we're not going to have any tomfoolery from Jordan when it comes to cav charges. And look, Kroq-Gar himself. We're only a minute into this fight, and he's already kind of out of things. But keep in mind, he still has the Skink Priest of Heaven, so he's still in good shape here. The Noble's going to chase him off the battlefield as we get that Skink Priest of Heavens jumping into our Sisters of Avalorn. Now, let's take a look here quickly at this backline engagement. After seeing these Chameleon Skinks, I took the Illyrian Reavers and the Lothern Sea Guard and tried to just do whatever we could to just to bait them, keep them at bay. We didn't want them in my backline harassing stuff. If those things were locked in heavy into our line when we were trying to fight Kroq-Gar, we would have been in bad shape. Let's move things up. Yes, I saw that. This unit of White Lions I tried to casually gloss over. Yeah, we need to definitely get those guys moving up. We've got this unit of Spearmen trying to jump onto this Bastiladon Solar Engine just to get it to stop firing, and it is an anti-large, or I'm sorry, anti-large, so it is good form here. Now, got our Skink Priest that has taken quite a bit of damage from both the Sisters of Avalorn and melee attacks, and from the ranged ones. And it looks like we're in really good shape here. Star of Avalorn kicking off to keep these White Lions in place while we fight off these Temple Guards. These White Lions have finished off their opponent, and a charge, a valiant charge from our Spearmen into this Bastiladon Solar Engine. The Hadab on the back trying to chuck little spears at us, trying to get that thing to slow down, right? But it collapse over here on these Temple Guard as well, getting as much damage as we can. Now, Jordan at the last minute did realize, though, he has two very strong trump cards here. Cold One Riders. Now, these are not absolutely terrifying in melee attack, especially against what I have predominantly no large creatures here. But at this late in the game, they can really turn this into Jordan's favor. I've kind of tried to make a little defensive bubble here to shoot them down as fast as possible. Might not have been my best move, but still, it was done. We've got our Bastiladon shut down effectively. It's being attacked by those Spearmen, but these Spear Riders are now involved with the Scions of Mathlon. Scions of Mathlon are pretty great here. They are the Regiment of Renown unit, and the great thing about them is they do have Aura of Protection, so that 12% damage resistance is going out to everything around them. That's exactly why I've put them in range of our Sisters of Avalorn, our other unit of Spearmen, and our two units of the White Lions of Trace here. But Rampage is kicked on on this flank, which is really just getting torn up. Everything's just getting beaten man for man here. Chameleon Skinks have pushed out from this portion. Then we have, a dreaded Cold One Rider charge. Right into the back line. Crikey. Oh, I'm sorry, I moved the wrong direction, but still, you saw the breath attack coupled by the devastating Cold One charge here. This is so not good for our Sisters of Avalorn. As I always say, anytime you have a backline of High Elves, you get in that backline, and if you just start disrupting it, you shut down the true strength of the High Elves, which is the sheer amount and range of firepower they can bring to the table. Obviously, they have an amazing array of High Elf elite infantry, and that is, the other end of their spectrum, but still, if you can get in that High Elf backline, you've pretty much neutralized a good chunk of their army. So right there, we have our Spearmen trying to jump in on these Cold One Riders, do any kind of damage we can. We're sandwiched in. Our White Lions of Trace over here are both completely fled off. We just have this one unit and the Scions of Mathlon. Hopefully we can get something going here. A Banishment ripping over here, doing more damage to me than to our opponent, but still neutralizing the left bit of this flank entirely, as our Noble kind of comes over here, trudges in, trying to help out with the large Cold One Riders as best he can. Things are getting pretty hectic here. We had a pretty good line of battle, and things are getting really just kind of distorted and blurred all over the place as we try to just kind of keep this together. We have Chameleon Skinks kind of edging their way in, starting to shoot in. They still have, over 50% ammunition, so that damage is not going to be good. They might not be a ton of damage, but it's still a little bit over time. We have knocked out one unit of Cold One Riders, so that puts us in a better position, and we still have another one here trying to just smash apart this Spearmen that are killing this Basilodon. We have both Saurus warriors coming back onto them and knocking them apart as well. Starting to really get another one of these things. Man, the problem here obviously is that because these Scissors of Avalorn haven't been freed up, that the Star of Avalorn completely wasted as I used it a little bit too willy-nilly in the hecticness of things. I probably would have been better suited here with our White Lions of Trace or our Spears of Mothblond. Now, getting those Scions of Mothblond, sorry. The big thing here is because those Sisters of Avalorn were tied up, I wasn't able to take out this King Priest of Heavens. It did break, it did start fleeing, but it did come back. And as the last bastion of their leadership, it's got free reign to fly over the battlefield and cast its spells. So let that be a lesson to you, the viewer. Try to knock out this caster as fast as possible. Having a caster in your army is access to a resource the enemy cannot negate outright majority of the time. There are abilities and spells that do that, but my point is that you have a caster casting what can do large swaths of damage or completely turn a one-sided fight in your favor, either by healing or outright damage. So neutralizing this caster should have been my higher focus rather than trying to neutralize those Cold One Riders, which were already so close to the rest of my army that having my Sisters of Avalorn fire on them was just kind of useless. Got our Noble here just kind of trudging through some of these Chameleon Skinks, and our Sisters of Avalorn back online, shooting into them. Las guns shooting down range. God, I love the way these guys fire. More healing going off here, trying to get one final charge into everything as we kind of just scrap things together. And again, I'll be honest, this was still a bad play. I should have had these Sisters of Avalorn shooting onto this King Priest, but I did kind of see the proximity, and I wanted to kind of bait him down. Uh-oh. Another devastating charge of the Cold One Riders. We have a whole unit of Spearmen here. Needs to jump in the fight. Just fat-fingered him. Didn't touch him at all. Oh, so close. But we have brought even Alarielle into the fight just to try and do whatever we can to neutralize these Cold One Riders. They weren't in the fight for long, but you saw how much damage they could do once they were really able to just kind of get to bear, right? Get to the actual army. And oh, giant patch of green goo ripping up some Sisters of Avalorn. Just not good for anyone. The Noble over there just trotting through skinks. Hello. Cheerio. Top of the morning to you. I have wings on my helmet. Fighting into Alarielle. We've got our Spearmen here kind of helping us make another pass at a line. But for the most part, the infantry is gone for the Lizardmen. We're just down to this unit of Saurus warriors that are just barely holding on, and these two Chameleon Skinks with the Basilodon Solar Engine. But these White Lions of Trace are going to be able to knock apart these Temple Guard quite quickly. We'll be in a much better shape here as the battle really kind of starts to... So much healing you're able to put out with Alarielle as the battle kind of starts to wind down. It was one-sided at one point. Then it kind of started to shift towards the Lizardmen. Then we finally got a hold of it in the end there to pull out that win. Huge hat off there to Jordan. That was such a fun match. We put like a best of 5, and he actually beat me 4 times. So, I mean, he won the best of 5 is my point. Jordan will hopefully be joining me in some a live stream or something of the sort. But he was saying that, like, ever since the Everchosen Invitational, him and the rest of the production team have just been playing nonstop during lunches. And he's like the reigning champ right now. So Jordanator has learned the ways. He's a very successful Padawan. So let's take a look here. 61 kills from Alarielle. So we did get a banishment or 2 off that was pretty effective, and I apologize for not being able to focus on that. But we did have the Noble being able to really do a little bit of damage here, knocking out some large targets, really getting around the battlefield. And that's the way I really like to use the Noble, is getting him into those engagements that need him the most. You would kind of usually do that with Phoenixes. Phoenixes have the ability to come in and out of combat so quickly. And I think that using the Noble allows you to kind of get around the battlefield, have him charge the targets he needs to charge, like Kroq-Gar in the early engagement, and get them pinned down quickly. Taking a look at our White Lions of Trace, as you can see, really got their money's worth. 74, 49, 64, 41. They really just brought the noise, and I'm proud of my boys from Trace. Our Sisters of Avalorn didn't do that much damage for their point cost at what, 1250? Is that, or no, they're 1100 flat. I wanted them to do more damage, but They were able to knock out Kroq-Gar. That is pretty substantial. We're able to do quite a chunk of health with the Skink Priest in the very beginning, but poor engagement on my part, not using them to target the stuff that I should have been targeting, again, the Skink Priest, and better targets throughout the engagement, kept their kill count low and their return not very high. Taking a look, though, at Jordan's army, I mean, everything got really great kills here. 81, 65, 60, 36. The Saurus Warriors were squared up pretty much majority against the Spearmen, so those kills are pretty high value for them, right? So 81 against, what, 8, 5, 20, and 40? So they were able to deal quite a bit of damage. But the Temple Guard still were able to do quite a bit, even though they were killed relatively quickly. There were some were in to the bitter end, but 71 and 64. The real MVPs of this match, though, gotta say, are these three at the bottom. All three of our dinosaurs. The Bastiladon Solar Engine was able to just chuck out our Illyrian Reaver Archers at the beginning of the fight almost immediately. And the Cold One Riders came in at the very end to tip the scales to a really balanced fight at that latter half of the fight. So it became a really kind of grueling little war of attrition at the end there, as each army kind of tried to pull its fleeing units back into the engagement, try to get those opportunistic charges that they could, and all those kind of good action. But overall, an amazing fight. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Again, thanks to Jordan for doing a little a best of 5 with me and crushing me completely. But either way, guys, don't forget to like below or comment below, like the video, subscribe, check out my Patreon, all that good action. Thanks for watching. Have a good one and take care.